Excuse me. That's my window. You're pecking there. Yes. You cheeky little Mr. Bluetit.
It's Monday and I've woken up with a stinker of a migraine. Taken a sumatriptan, and all it seems to have done is make the bones fall out of my body. The head's still not any better. It's 10:30. This poor puppy needs to go for a walk. I thought I'd make a little vlog about living with migraine, as I'm currently suffering. I am, I think, what they call a migraineur, which sounds very much like the kind of, what Mrs. Bucket would call herself when she's got a headache. Darling, I don't just get headaches, I'm a migraineur, don't you know? And apparently migraine is something to do with the brain, which means it's a neural illness, or, let's remove the stigma, it's a mental illness, as in depression, bipolar, all that kind of stuff. And the fact that it's to do with the brain does not make it any less real. The fact that migraine is accompanied by pain does not make it any more real or less real than something like depression. I don't know. I'm not medically trained. I failed my biology O-level. I'm here talking from someone who's actually living with it. And I thought I'd give a few tips on people who do live with migraine or some kind of mental illness, and people who care for those people. My first tip is you just manage your life, you manage your deadlines, and you do as much you can when you feel like it. A couple of weeks ago, as a lot of you know, I was at the NEC judging for the Caravan Club. I was petrified I was going to get a migraine. I didn't, thank goodness. I was rushing around like a madman. I was creating stuff, videoing, editing. I was on fire, and I was really enjoying every minute of it because I knew it was precious. In other words, I knew it wouldn't last. So that's the thing, when you feel like it, just do it. And that, especially if you need to do something creative, if you make things, because you can't be creative with this. Which brings me on to the next thing, which is when you're like this, you can, we all suffer to different degrees. Some people can't get out of bed, and I didn't get out of bed till lunchtime today. But some people can't get out of bed at all for days. I feel I'm like one of the lucky ones. Yeah, I'm lucky. We're the lucky ones. Because I can function somewhat. And if you can function to some degree, rather than beating yourself up that you can't do everything you want to do, just concentrate on what I call the mechanical tasks, the stuff that you can do without thinking about it. Tidying up your flat, your caravan, your house, just, do a bit of housework. Washing up, tick, done, sit down, you've earned a cup of tea. Take the dog for a walk, tick, done, sit down, you've earned yourself a cup of tea. Just do these minor mechanical tasks, things that you don't have to think about. And every single one you do, no matter how small, whether it's just go and clean your teeth, is a success. It's something you wouldn't have done had you been one of these unfortunate people who is stuck in bed all the time. That's all very well for you to say, but I've got to go to work. In that case, obviously, as with everything, you need to speak to a medical professional. But I would say in that case, when I need to work, I just medicate. And it's as simple as that. I just medicate. And I see medication as a way of getting through the things you need to do. It's not an answer. It's not going to fix anything. It's not going to cure anything. But I really need to get some work done today. And I've taken sumatriptan, and unfortunately it hasn't fully worked. It's working enough for me to do this now. But this is another thing, change your plans. Today, this morning, was going to be about editing and writing. Well, that's out the window. Staring at a screen? Seriously? No. So what I've decided to do today is make this vlog for you, the lovely viewers. Because I can do this. This is something I can do. I can sit here and talk rubbish to the camera. And therefore, yeah, just change your ideas of what you want to do. Another thing I want to talk about is that as human beings, we seem to think we have all the answers. The reality is we don't have all the answers. We don't know all the answers. You can't just Google, how do I cure my migraine? There's hundreds of suggestions out there. Some are very good, some are very dangerous. But no, we don't know all the answers. We know a gazillion times more than we knew 100 years ago. And we know a gazillion times less than we will know in 100 years' time. So we don't know all the answers. You just have to work out what works best for you. Which brings me on to caring for people who have some kind of mental illness, whether it's migraine, depression, bipolar. And that is, it can be really, really hard to watch someone you care about suffering so much and you feel powerless to do it. As human beings, especially caring ones, good people want to help. They want to make the pain go away. They want to lift the black cloud. They want to make it all better. If you feel like that, that makes you a bloody good person. Bad news is, you're not going to fix it. I'm really sorry. And that can put more stress on the person you're caring for, because they see that you care, they see your love, they see your goodness, and they are powerless to just take it on there. And if you keep on saying,
have you tried giving up coffee? Have you tried giving up dairy? Have you tried standing on your head, watching daytime TV and singing the lyrics to Agadoo?
the person you're caring for eventually just wants to turn around and say, have you tried jamming your head in a gas oven and switching on? By all means, offer advice. And one of my Twitter followers a couple of weeks ago, Homer Simpson, so I don't know what his real name is, but Homer Simpson, you're a star. He sent me a link to a blog when I was having a 9-day attack, and it was about topping up your electrolytes, because the amount of water you drink to try and rehydrate can actually make things worse as it flushes your salts out. I have a very healthy diet, low salt, and anyway, I had what they suggested, lemon juice with water and Himalayan sea salts, and oh, it's disgusting, and yeah, it really worked. But then I read something else about Himalayan sea salts to say that they actually contain radioactive ingredients. You make your own choices, but generally with any kind of, especially with migraine where you're in pain, anything that is going to work and take you out of pain, you don't care really, as long as it works. You just do it. By all means, offer help and advice, but know when to just say, if you want anything, I'm here. And it can be as simple as making that person a cup of tea, and giving them a bit of space, giving them a hug. But please, if you know someone at work or something like that, please don't keep on with,
I've got a friend at work and she had Botox. Have you tried Botox?
a lot of us have tried everything, but it means that you care. It means you are a good person. So if you get a negative response, please don't hold it against the person who's suffering. They understand you care, but sometimes if you're in pain or you're down, you just can't cope with all that on top of you. And the other thing, last thing I want to talk about, is to listen to your cravings. Now, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of advice out there, some of it good, some of it dangerous. Some of it applies to you, some of it does not apply to you. One thing I get sick of being told now by people who care is,
have you tried giving up dairy?
yes, I have. I tried giving up dairy for a year and I was suffering so badly. And anyway, long story short, turns out vitamin D deficiency, vitamin D, magnesium, anything to do with bones, calcium, all seems to help migraine. What do you need to absorb vitamin D? The fat from the milk. So yeah, full fat milk really works for me. Me giving up dairy is like just having a permanent migraine. Now for you, it might work. You might give up dairy and go, hey, my migraines have gone. Caffeine, don't get me started about caffeine. I gave up caffeine for 2 years. Made no difference whatsoever. If anything, again, they got worse. And started drinking proper coffee again, proper tea, and felt a lot better. This morning, I was going to make a vlog and I was going to show you how I make my autumn porridge, which I will do. But again, plans change when you've got a migraine. But I really, really, really wanted toast and butter and marmalade and a cup of tea. And that's what I had. And I can only guess it was my body craving the salt. So I might have another one of those electrolyte drinks. So in a nutshell, that's how I live with migraine. Yeah, it's not fair. I would love to be one of these people that's full of energy, full of life, all the time, always high, always on. Unfortunately, life isn't like that. Life isn't fair. We just have to get over that. Life is not fair. I feel very honoured, very privileged that I have people who care for me. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my belly. I do not want for anything. It doesn't always help to focus on your blessings when you're in a lot of pain or you're down. And again, that's the worst thing you could probably say to anyone with depression is, oh, you're a lot better off than some of these other people who are, you know, homeless and all that. Just don't even go there. So that's how I live with migraine. Survive, do what I can around it. None of this is rocket science. Hope some of this has proved useful to some of you, even if it's just a sort of an insight into people you know or people who might have some kind of mental illness you don't even know about. But I leave you with this thought, and that is, I know people who suffer from depression. I know people who are bipolar. And these poor people are always being told,
oh, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Just snap out of it. Think on and look sharp.
full of all this advice. Now, a few weeks ago, I damaged my knee badly in a kite surfing accident. It really hurt my meniscus. I'm still got a bit of a limp now. No one told me to get over that. No one told me as I was on crutches that throw the crutches away, forget about it, just get on with it. So why is that different? Why is everyone an expert when it comes to mental health? And yet we all know we're not experts when it comes to physical health. I'll just leave that one with you. And in the meantime, thanks for tuning in.